Hi there, welcome everybody. Another ZoukCast episode number 37 nymph. How you doing?
Hey Antonio, I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine too. I'm also almost in summer here. You can see the amount of light coming from the window, and it's 8:30 in the evening. So really nice. Today we have a special episode about something that many people believes impossible. That it's how can you partner dance with people that cannot see you, dancing with the blind and the visually impaired. And for that, we have our guest today. He's doing some work in this field. He is Darius from Canada. How are you doing?
Very good. Thank you very much, Antonio, for having me.
So Darius, first of all, since you are mostly based in Canada, can you tell for the audiences of all the different places in the world, who are you, where do you come from, how did you met Zouk, all this kind of stuff?
Sure, absolutely. I am based in Toronto, Canada, and I run an organization called Zouk Productions, and we have been focusing on Zouk, Brazilian Zouk, for the past 6 years. And I got into Zouk from salsa myself, and I was a salsa dancer traveling internationally. A lot of salsa shows and instruction at a very professional level. And I came across Zouk at a salsa conference, and what studied has a lot of different factors. I feel like this is a 3D dance as opposed to a 2D dance. And a lot of different angles. I thought I can do a lot of more shows and better visual stuff on stage with it. That's how I got in love with it. And I just wanted to perform it. I didn't know that it feels like dancing Zouk. So I started choreographing the show, and I built the show when I went down to Australia and I did a private with Kaduan Darius to actually bring my Zouk technique because I was sensitive. So it was not a good looking Zouk thing. This is how I started with being on stage. But then I started traveling a little bit more for Zouk to learn Zouk congresses in Europe and Brazil. I started social dancing, and I'm like, oh my god, the feel is very different. It's not only what you can do on stage with this, but the connection you have with the partner is not like any other dance that I have been trained in and I've been doing. So I just fell in love with it, and after 3 years of performing it and doing performance shows with my partners and team, I started teaching it in Toronto. And we started something, a program called Zouk University in Toronto. And this program takes people through a very methodical process of educating them on mainly technique of the dance. And then we just branched one of our programs at Zouk University to do a program for the blind. And that's, I guess, the topic that you guys want to talk more about. But just I'll pause it over here and I'll tell you that's my organization. And also, do two congresses in Canada. One is called Vision Dance Encounter, which is a fundraiser for bringing the Zouk and Western Swing communities together. And it's like a congress, Jack and Jills, and that people compete, and all the proceeds will go to the blind. And we also have another congress called Canada Zouk Congress, which is the typical standard Zouk Congress we do in Canada. So that's a big intro. Sorry. I hope I give you and the people who are watching it.
Okay, so how did the idea of trying to teach Zouk to the blind people came to you? How did it start? Did some blind person came to you and I want to dance Zouk, or was the idea coming from inside yourself?
Right. Good question. As I told you, everything I do is basically stage driven. So what I wanted to do is basically do a fundraiser for the Association for the Blind in Canada.
Let me interrupt you for a moment. Can you try to to talk a bit
Louder?
more. Yeah, louder, because it's difficult to understand because there are some bass and noise in your connection. So if
Okay.
louder, it would be nicer.
Okay, sure. So yeah, I was explaining that I started this idea for teaching to the blind because of the show that I was doing. I came up with the idea of building a show and to tell the story of a blind person through dance and theater. And in this show, which was again supposed to be a fundraiser, and we called it the Seat Inside Me dance production. I wanted to make it more believable. I thought I should put some blind dancers on and teach them to perform. And when people watch them, they would believe the story better. And through that exercise, we needed more blind students, and that was very hard to find. And people that could trust you and come and work with you. So we went to the Association for the Blind, and we told them this is our idea. This is about at the beginning, they were like, "You guys are crazy," and this is not possible. But plus, you don't have experience in working with a blind. Have you ever worked with a blind person? I'm like, no, but my partner Laura's done some ski lessons for blind students, but that's about where we are. We're not trained in doing it. So after going back and forth, we got their interest, and they allowed us to audition 5 people who came to learn the choreography. Through that experiment, it was all experimental. We realized that we can actually teach these folks to dance, partner dance, as opposed to just the choreo. Because we had to teach them the basic steps, the lateral, the Virginia, and all of that. So by doing that, these guys are picking up very fast. So it was a good learning for them. And we then switched our attention to teaching them social dance. And then after 3 weeks of training, we brought them out to our social. And so all these 5, they came to the social. We included them in the social dance community, and they were very well received and embraced by our community. And they started social dancing, and the ice broke, and a lot of people were in tears in the room, but and they couldn't believe that after just 3 weeks, somebody can lead, a basic step and a Virginia and a lateral and a left lunge and turn, all without even being able to, not only dance but do much physical exercise with it. So it was a big milestone for us to believe in ourselves and how we can do this. And then we decided to do the show, and we did the show, and one couple went on stage and did the show for us, and one individual. So 3 of the 5 went on the show, but all 5 got trained in our level 1 that we teach in our ZoukCast University. We trained them all. It was a fascinating experience, and so that's how I started it, and that's how we got into the program.
Okay, so let's go a little bit more into the technical side of it. What's the main difference that you feel, you as a teacher, that you have to take in mind when you are teaching to a person that cannot see you at all, or maybe cannot see you as an, let's say, normal, between quotes, seeing person? Would be on your class?
Yeah, it's very different in the instruction, because as a teacher, you don't have all the tools that you use in your normal classroom and class setting in the studio. Most often, people learn visually because teachers show them the move and say, "Look, see, do this, do that," as opposed to explaining it and articulating on it verbally. And so it is very different. It's a very different technique and very different methodology. For us, in order to do it, Laura and I, we started blindfolding ourselves first, and we got to train each other in finding each other, leading each other, and following each other by being blindfolded first. And then we thought, okay, how are they feeling this? How are they going to? So we did put ourselves in that exercise of being on the other side. And we reverse engineered a way that could work for them by putting ourselves in the shoes. And through the experiment that we did with them, we discovered how they learn, how you can process the map in their mind, how their brain works, because it's very different than someone who is heavily relying on their vision for learning. And they're very auditory and very tactile. So we have to show a lot of movements by touching and putting their hands in the direction. They need to be pointing their toes to the direction that they need to move forward to. And this is a very tactile experience. You need to be very patient, and you need to be very creative in articulating on saying things that they would remember it, because they cannot see it. They just need to remember that sentence and that direction. So that's basically the secret sauce behind how we did it.
Yeah, because sometimes in class, you know that when you teach some new thing, and maybe to showcase this new thing, you do a combination. The ladies learn the combination because they are watching you, and then they are not following the guys. Rather, they are just doing by memory what they watch. And sometimes I've found that it was useful to blindfold them in order for them to be more sensitive to the leading of the guys. So do you find that blind people are better followers than normal seeing people?
I have to agree with you that they would not use their vision in order to make any judgment or pre-assumption, and they will follow basically what is led. And one thing we need to remember is that blind people are very used to be guided, because sometimes you hold the hand of a blind person and they hold your elbow, and you walk them through the community. You may see a lot of people that are blind in the community. Another person is guiding them, and they're called guide, that can direct them through the path journey from A to B. So the first thing they learn is that, and then how to do that independently. So the process of guiding and leading and following is nothing new for one person. That's second nature to them. I'm going to hold you. Can I hold your hand? And you go forward, and I'll follow you. That is something that we as people who sight and vision, we're not used to. We want to tell ourselves in our brain is telling me, I'm going to do it, but I ain't feeling it, I want to do it, without relying on someone else. So we did not have that issue of, okay, you have to follow. Do you understand? You have to follow. They're like, sure, you tell what to do, I'll do it. And the other,
how else can you do it?
it was not our challenge. Actually, that came to our advantage. Frankly, it made it easier for us. I had no idea that would be an advantage. But by experience, you learn that. But for a blind person to actually lead another blind person, that is amazing, because
that was my next question. Like, how do they lead? Is it so difficult for them, or finally, after some adaptation, they can lead properly? How do you find
it? It varies depending on the person, but we have realized that the more body awareness they have, they can conduct the leading better. First of all, they have no issues in leading because they are led by their guide to walk from A to B. So they understand the touch and the hold. Mm-hmm. And what's new to them is the embrace. It's the connection. It's that connection that they don't have.
But that's new to almost everybody, like I didn't dance before.
That is true. But when we are teaching connection to people who have vision, a lot of things become, in our way, because the distance to someone else, and do they look good, do they smell good, or do they, you visually start judging people before you go to the embrace. Yeah. We don't have a lot of those issues with people who have no vision yet. They're like, okay, let's start. And then, the height difference is the first thing that they will realize. That's it.
But it doesn't matter if the girl of the guy are ugly or beautiful, or they don't care.
None of that. Is he wearing a good shoe, or is her hair done right or not? Is that girl sexy or not? There's a lot of things in the social dance floor people take as a prejudgment without even knowing
Yeah.
before asking someone to dance or want them to be dancing with someone, which we don't have any of that in the world of people with visions. And it's just a technique. Once they get the technique and it's articulated well to them, it goes into their mind as if, oh, okay, if I want to do this procedure, this is how I'm programmed. It's like you're programming a computer. I'm a computer programmer by trade. That's why I'm always thinking of, okay, how am I going to program the brain of this person in order to do a function that it has to do really by step by step. And that's how I actually modeled our training program for them, because their brain really maps the space that they are in. And if you tell them this is your straight line, and then walk them through that straight line, give them those visual cues that they don't have, but in the sense of spatial cues, that's something that they can really comprehend and follow through.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. So we lost Nymph. I don't know if he's trying to reconnect. Maybe we will find him later. But let's continue with the talk.
Sure.
For me, what you're doing with them, it's a big challenge that you're overtaking as a teacher. Do you find that these restrictions that you have in teaching them make you a better teacher for the rest of the people?
Absolutely. Because we have become a lot more patient and a lot more articulated in how we instruct. And a lot of people that we teach them do not learn by watching you doing it. You have to tell them what to do. And we've learned that in our normal classes, we're now able to explain to the people who are learning auditory better. And the people who are really, can you show me? That's easy. The showing is easy. But we can now identify which student learns how, and we address their needs based on their learning ability. So that's the major thing that Laura and I, as teachers, took out of this program to become, as you just explained, a more effective teacher. Our biggest challenge was not the 5 students that we had. We were invited to go to School for the Blind and teach to a summer camp. And in this summer camp, they have students that are teenagers and young kids from the age of 9 to 20, 19, 18. It's a wide spectrum of kids, and they are very musically aware of beat and sound and rhythm and timing, because they all play instruments. What they wanted us to do is to teach them to dance. And this, we have an advantage because we didn't have to talk about music and timing and steps, which we have a terrible time with someone who comes brand new, fresh to dance school, has never danced. With these folks, we had that advantage. They had no problem keeping on beat. What we needed to work with them is just the connection. And they were young. It was really exciting for them to touch each other, the kids. And we were fascinated by what we could experiment and learn from their learning abilities. And in 4 hours, we taught them how to dance and do everything that we taught on our level 1. And the second year, we were invited to do choreography for the same group. And we had said, okay, you guys know the basic steps. Let's now put sequences together and show for that. And when they performed for their parents could not believe that my child, born blind, can now dance on stage and perform. That this was an unforgettable moment.
Yeah.
And that's the experiment that we went through, and what we learned as a teacher, as a choreographer, is, I think, a lot more fulfilling as a teacher than you teach to people who don't have challenges in their life. And they take it for granted. They come to a dance class and dance program, they whine about their day or whatnot, and this is hard, I'm not going to do it. And you as a teacher won't be fulfilled by teaching them and hearing all of these things that they are not even capable of. I'm thinking some people, not everyone. But once you go to the other side of the spectrum, when you're working with these people, I can't explain the amount of job satisfaction that you have as a teacher.
They tend to appreciate more what you are doing for them than the other people. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So talking about the social side of it, do these guys go to dance on the normal social parties? How do the other dancers, if they are going to the social parties, how do the other dancers accept them or not? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, we bring them to our parties and we bring them to our congress. I mean, last month we had the Canada Zouk Congress. I brought the couple who are visually impaired and they performed for them, put them on the Friday night so everyone can see them. And then people would come and want to dance with them. And I did actually encourage a lot of people to do that. And without even encouraging, I brought them next to the front, and people really came and asked them to dance and to lead and follow both. At the beginning, it's a little bit difficult because people are uncomfortable doing this experiment. A lot of people feel sad for them. I feel like, oh, this is a sad thing. But I encourage people to look at it from there. They're all living with this difficulty in their life. They're here to have fun. Yeah. So look at it on the positive side. Look at what you can do and give them the positives. And once that is resolved in the mind of people, there's no problem going through. And they give it their heart. And it becomes something very beautiful to watch. What I think we need to educate people is that, for example, they dance with these folks and they say thank you, they hug and they leave them in the middle of the dance floor and move on to dance with someone else. They can't do that with someone who is visually impaired. Because where do they go now? Right? It's not like they have their cane in their hand to find their way. So it's a bit of an education for the community as well, that you let them on the dance floor, please let them guide them to the side of the dance floor to somewhere they can sit and someone else can find them and dance with them. It takes a bit of an education, so we have to babysit all of that and watch and monitor things. It's just because we need time from the community to appreciate this and the delicacy of what you're doing with people.
Yeah. So Nymph, do you have any question from the people in the chat or from yourself?
Yeah, I'm not sure if my sound is clear.
Yeah, your sound is clear.
Yeah, all right. Darius, I'm not sure if it's if you told it already, because your voice, the sound is sometimes disturbing. But how many members, like students, do you have, like blind student and people that can see?
Yeah, we started with 5 at the beginning. We trained them, and then we took 3 of them to choreography, and we're constantly working with one couple right now and taking them to the next level. But we are going to the School for the Blind to teach in camps. Because there's a School for the Blind in Canada. It's one of the largest ones, and it's an onboarding school. People live there in that town. They live in this campus to go through education, and that's not where we have access to. It's probably 2 hours drive for us from Toronto. So we go there and teach it there once a year. And there we have a group of probably 20, 30 kids, and we work with them. And we have done adult lessons on a weekend basis at the Institute for the Blind. So we put an ad, all the adults would come. So we train probably around up to 10 people from there, and like short-term programs. And what we are now doing is training our better dancers who are visually impaired to learn and assist us through all these programs so they can teach to the other one. So a blind can teach another blind to dance Zouk. That's what we take next.
Okay, nice. And when people that can see are dancing with the blind people, what is the feedback of them? Like, do they like it? Is it different?
They all come to me after thanking me. They're saying this was the most incredible feeling. Because, for example, if you're leading a blind woman, they will see a lot of weakness in their lead, a lot of ways that they cannot articulate to the follower to do. And the followers who are dancing before are all visually seeing what the guy wants to do. But when you're dancing as a blind person, you have to be as clear as possible and to make all those head movements and bonacas and all the movements and circular movements and your linear movements really clear. So they have to opt their lead. And then when the connection, if they can connect on that dance, that connection in that moment is like some of them will go 2, 3, 4 songs. They just don't want to let go because they figured out the formula. And the connection is amazing. And I have never seen anyone dancing less than 2 or 3 songs. It's just something mesmerizing happens.
Yeah. Do you think it's an option, or it's nice to have people like blind people and people that can see like training together? Do you do this?
We have tried. We have tried. As a matter of fact, we brought our own students to be in the same classroom that they are. And we brought them to a workshop, for example, that Mafuzuki is teaching. We brought them over there and we tried to have someone to assist them to do whatever the instructor is saying. So that, it's a workshop for normal people, bring all these visually impaired students in there. The problem is the teachers who are teaching, they are not talking as much as they are showing, they will benefit. So we have to put an interpreter. So the interpreter looks at, for example, what the instructor is saying and is able to articulate that and tactile, show it to these people, and they can learn it inside. But when we are teaching, we can do it. It's just that the pace of the class is going to be very different because the attention that you need to give to these folks. Unless you put a volunteer next to them, then you can conduct the class for everyone. Because we have learned how to talk more than just to show in classes and articulate. So a visually impaired person can come and participate. It's just that is the other student comfortable in the class or not? Those are the things that we still are a little bit not so sure as we can really blend the programs together at this time.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, clear.
So I have this question now popping up my mind. Usually when you are dancing socially, you know that the lady is comfortable dancing with you when she closes her eyes, and she just lets go and she's trusting you 100%. So how do you know when a blind person is trusting you 100%? Because you don't have this cue, you cannot see, oh, she closed her eyes, now she is enjoying. How do you know? Are they enjoying from the beginning, or you know what I mean? How do you know that they are trusting you 100%?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. You say that some people close their eyes and dance zouk, and that's how I figured out. Oh my God, this dance is already closed-eyed. So why can't we just go teach it to the blind? Because we always see a lot of people, even blind, close their eyes. No, I'm going into this, and okay, if we can close our eyes and dance this dance,
yeah,
it's safe enough to go and teach to the blind. So that's how it's just also motivated us. But your question is, how do we trust? I don't know if the followers trusting us. The first moment that you start dancing with the person with vision loss, whether they are leading you or following you, an error is going to happen, a mistake is going to happen. And it's not on the side of the person who is visually, it's on the side of the person who's normal, because they're not used to it. You try to, visually cue, you let the go of the girl, and then you put your hand in there.
You put your hand to ask for the
hand. That will not come there. It's not going to come there. So you need to modify the way you are actually leading them without saying, I'm here, give me a hand. You need to really be continuously turning your hand and switching the hands and connecting and moving. So you learn that by experience. And it's quite fascinating because if you continue doing the same thing with a normal person, you will never let go of the connection between you and your partner throughout the dance. And from the women's perspective, when they're following, they will enjoy the ride because continuously somebody is taking them through the journey. For the girls who dance with people who are visually impaired and they are the lead, they also encounter similar experiences because they start doing a lot of styling and a lot of things that if they let go of their connection and then come back, they assume that the person knows where they are. They can pick them up. In this case, it wouldn't happen, and they'll say, "Oh, okay, I'm here. Come and get me." So it's a whole different level of dancing. Here you need to tone certain things down
Yeah.
as much as I want to look good. You just need to go. I want to feel good. It's more about feeling than looking good.
So making maybe a boxing analogy, for the blind people is easier than for the normal seeing people because they are like left-handed boxers. They're used to fight with all right-handed boxers, but the right-handed one are not so used to fight with left-handed one.
Yeah.
So that's more or less what happened. We seeing people, we are not used to dance with blind, but they are used to dance with us. So that's why
Absolutely.
the difficulty is more for the other people, right?
They have no challenge following you. They have no challenge leading women that are sighted. It's more our challenge in order to adapt ourselves into their level of connection and commitment.
Okay, so we just ran out of time because we try to keep the episodes to half an hour so people don't get bored and they have time to watch the episodes. Nim, do you have any extra question from the audience or from yourself?
No.
Okay, so anything else that you wanted to say, Darius?
Yeah, I just wanted people to know that the couple that I work with, George and Ramya, they came from not being dancers to learning to perform next to Carlo and Larissa and next to George and Renata on stage on this exciting dance production. So I had the honor to put them next to these great Zouk artists on the show. And also, I challenged them to go into the World Latin Dance Cup competitions, and they competed in the Zouk category under the limitless category of competitions. And they represented Brazilian Zouk, and they came back with a gold medal, and it was just an amazing experience to represent Zouk as well as young people on stage. So it's one of my days of my career as a teacher. I wanted to share that with everyone. You can see the YouTube video of that with the blind masters.
Nice. Okay, so that's all for today, people. It's been a really interesting subject. I want to apologize a little bit for the sound because it was somehow difficult to understand everything you said, but I guess that since I understood most of what you were saying, people can also understand. If if you find some trouble, just leave a comment and we can subtitle some of the passages of the episode. But already, I just want to thank Darius for being here, but also for this great job that you're doing with the blind people. I think it's a extremely good initiative, and I think that you're doing a really good job for these people, that they also deserve to enjoy the joy of dance.
Yes. Thank you, Antonio. Thank you very much for having me in the program. Thank you. Thank you, Nim.
Okay,
You're
Nymph,
welcome.
that's all for today. So how you think that next week is going to be? We don't have any guests for right now, right?
No, not yet.
Let's
But
keep.
yeah, let's be surprised.
Yeah, so let's surprise people next week. Actually, I am getting a little bit stressed right now because my festival is approaching, and I have a lot of things to do. But half an hour every week I can set apart for ZoukCast. So let's see what we can do next week. And to everybody, that's all for today. Again, apologies for the sound. We will try to improve it next time. And as I said, if you have any question, you can post on Facebook, you can post on YouTube. Just remember, my festival is coming now, and you can see here from the 21st to the 25th of July. So if you don't have your passes, we only have 20 full passes left on an early bird price. And again, if you want to support ZoukCast, you have this URL here, patreon.com/ZoukCast, where you can give us a little bit of money to improve our connections, improve our microphones and everything. From the first donations that we have, I have this microphone that it's really good. And thank you everybody for watching. Thank you to everybody that contributes, and thank you everybody that suggests themes and subjects. And that's all for today. See you next week. Bye, guys.
Okay, bye.